Right, good evening folks, this is Steve Cook again. This is just to show you in the last video a virtual PNP ltsp client in VirtualBox. Pardon me. The reason I'm showing you this is because I can't show you on a real bare metal client. It just becomes awkward, it's easy to show you this. I've given a full tutorial on how to install PNP ltsp for anyone on the community. If you simply go to search the little magnifying glass and type PNP ltsp in there, that tutorial will come up. This is just to show you what it's capable of. Right, so let's minimise this down. Put that there. Right, let's load it up. This is quite fast loading, and the reason it's quite quick to load is because it's actually virtual. If you're loading this on a bare metal client on the network somewhere, it's still pretty fast, but it will take about twice as long as this. This will take about 30 to 60 seconds to load. It would take a minute to 2 minutes to load. But bear in mind that once the image is loaded, it doesn't do this, it doesn't require this length of time every time a user logs in and out, because when a user logs out, the image is still on that client machine, and so the speed it takes to log in from this point is the speed it would take any user to log in and out for the rest of the time that that client was switched on. So now I've set this up to default to mate, but I could in principle have logged in with XFCE, because the client image is taken from the desktop, and this desktop was Ubuntu Studio with XFCE on it, and then I've stuck Ubuntu Mate on top of that. So all of the options that are available for login on my server are the same options that are available on this, because it's a clone of the server. So all of the usual programs are there. There are tons of programs here, some of which might not be advisable to use on a client such as VirtualBox, because if you open VirtualBox, you'd essentially be making, if you loaded it, you'd be running a virtual client inside a virtual client, which would be probably put a terrible drag on the system. If you want some of these programs not to be visible, not to be available to the user, you can go to a config file on the server, an exclude list file, and exclude certain programs, then update the image, and then when you load the image, those programs are not available. If you want to have a program available on the client that you don't want on the server, then the way to do that would be to install it on the server, update the image, the client image, then delete it from the server. Then it's only going to be available on the client image. Otherwise, you know, everything works really, really well. So stuff loads really quick. This is all happening on the server, of course. It's not happening on the client. Really, really quick. What PNP ltsp is really good for it, well, though, which is why I went with it, apart from the fact it's like ridiculously easy to install, is that it runs streaming video brilliantly, which a lot of ltsp doesn't, not without a lot of messing about. So to give you an example, I could go onto the network, because I can access the network from an ltsp client just like I would with a standalone client. So I can go to the server here, which is on the network. I can go to one of my videos and stream it across the network, and it works absolutely fine. There it is. Running really well. God, he needs haircuts. Right. That's that. I can also give you an example of what streaming internet media would be. I'll go on iPlayer. iPlayer. Here we go. I'll just pick the first thing I come to. That'll do. And as you can see, that's running really well. No problem at all. There you go. So, you can have, I mean, if you've got, each one of these clients would require about a gig of RAM. Maybe, if you run them a bit skinnier, maybe about 500-600 megs. But about a gig of RAM on the server will make these clients run like the wind. So if you've got 16 gig of RAM on your server, you can certainly have half a dozen or more clients around your house. Runs brilliantly. Right, that's basically that. I'm not going to go into the details of how you install it. That's all on the tutorial that I've written on the Oh, there's one other thing. Caffeine. I installed caffeine on here, and the reason I've installed caffeine on here is because one little bug, I hate to use that word, one little problem with ltsp at the moment is the screen lock. If the screen lock comes on, I think the screen lock happens at the server end, and if it comes on the client, you can't unlock it, and the only way, and it's stuck then, and the only way you can unlock it is from the server. Now I'm trying to work out a solution for that at the moment. I think one of the users on our community has come up with a solution today, so I might try and implement it. But in the meantime, I've got a short-term workaround. What that is I installed caffeine, and I've just put Marco in there as one of the trigger programs that disables the screensaver, and Marco just runs all the time in the background. So effectively, it's killed the screensaver for the entirety of the session that somebody's in a client, which means it can't look up. Now it's got security issues. If it was in a public institution, and somebody walked away and left their screen unlocked, it would stay unlocked. For me in my home, it's not a big deal, but I need to fix that before I can sell this to one of my schools. Sell the idea. When I say sell, I mean metaphorically. I don't mean for money. Right, that's basically it. Okay, let's log that out. There we go. And once logged out, at the end of the day, you would go shut down, and that will shut the machine completely down. Right, that's basically it for that. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.